David DeGuzman and the NBC4 Digital Center. It's the slow part of the sports year when we just have multiple topics to talk about. And to help me with that, we bring in, of course, Whitney Harding and Joe Nugent. Let's start with golf because that's kind of the leftover from last week, but we're still talking about it because it's such a great story. What Neal Shipley did, Buckeyes graduate golfer who had the time of his life nearly a week ago, golfing with the one and only Tiger Woods, and also was the low amateur at the Masters, and kind of got a glimpse of what that was like and what's ahead for him. So guys, just first off, just an incredible story that you guys got to talk with him.
Yeah, it really is a cool story. I mean, we've been following Neal since this summer when he played in the U.S. Amateur, which is how he qualified for the Masters, and he's already qualified for the U.S. Open, which is really, really cool. But yeah, I remember we were here on Saturday, we were watching the rounds. I think I turned to David and I said, oh my gosh, he might get paired with Tiger. This might be a thing that happens. As I saw how the scores were going, and then I think I was on set when we found out, and I was not mic'd at the time because I screamed. I was so excited for him.
And I think he said his bogey on number 18 in the third round was the best bogey in his life.
Yes.
Putting him in that group. But he still said, this week when we were talking to him, he said, even though I was paired with Tiger, he still wasn't 100% sure that it would happen on Sunday because, Tiger's struggled. And he's like, he's also, of course, not at the beginning of his career. It was a challenge physically. It's like, hey, is he going to play the final 18 holes? And, Sunday morning when Tiger showed up on the property, he knew okay, it's a go.
Yeah, Neal really said he did not know until he saw Tiger at the practice portion of the facility that it was going to actually happen. And one thing we talked to them about, I said what my favorite part of the whole day watching him was on the first hole, just watching them walk down the fairway and chit chat. And he said that was one of the coolest parts, was just talking with him. And he really got to kind of see Tiger as a human being and not just, Tiger. This
right.
Because
normal guy.
He is this beyond figure in sports. And it was, you could see it on Neal's face how he was realizing, saying the words, how cool it was to consider Tiger as kind of a colleague and a friend. It's wild.
And also clarify that he did not get a note from Tiger Woods, contrary to a massive popular belief. But yeah, just so incredible. I mean, to go from what he had quadruple bogeyed the last the last 3 holes in the third round, and then just to kind of come away with obviously such a big confidence booster. We're going to see him actually next weekend at the Big Ten Championships, which take place right here in Columbus. So that's a guy who has a big future ahead of him. Let's talk now about a guy whose time at Ohio State is now slowly coming to an end. Gene Smith, outgoing athletic director, he held a talk this week, and we weren't really quite sure what we were going to get out of that. We knew he wanted to just kind of have a good conversation, but it turns out we learned quite a few things, didn't we?
Yeah.
Not happy with the NCAA.
Who is?
Well, you're right.
But it was interesting.
It was, Charlie Baker is the president at the moment. He was not critical of Charlie. No. I think he appreciates what Charlie has been trying to do here the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But Gene feels like, hey, we're a little late on this stuff.
Yeah, he even mentioned that he wishes that Charlie had gotten there a few years earlier. And Gene was asked, is this one of the reasons that you are retiring? Is it because of all of these changes and you see it as now's a good time? And he said, actually, no. He said, I wish that all of these things had happened when I was a younger athletic director and when I had more years, because it's so clear he wants to dive in. He wants to be a part of it. And he has been, especially recently.
Yeah, he's so solution-based, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he talked about how, at the holidays or whatever, everybody gets together at the table and start complaining about something, and it goes on. He explained how he hates that situation.
Yeah.
This is pointless, right? Let's just move on. When something bad happens, let's move to the solution as fast as possible. So I thought that was interesting. I mean, there was also just, some inside stuff that he was more willing to talk about in terms of hiring coaches or hiring somebody else in the athletic department. He said, when people put together their resume and they have their references, he's like, I don't call the references.
That was interesting.
I want to find somebody else who they've interacted with to see, how that went. How was that relationship? So it was pretty interesting to kind of pick his brain a little bit on the way out.
Yeah, it really was. And like David said, we didn't know what we were going to get out of it. And there were some fun nuggets throughout the last 15 minutes, though, when he really talked about the NCAA, revenue sharing systems, what he thinks is going to happen in the future. That, to me, was the most interesting part. And we have a lot of that stuff on our website, NBC4i.com. I did a write-up on what he was saying and tried to put in what I thought was some of the most important parts.
And he talked about the new Big Ten football schedule, right? Where Ohio State's not playing Penn State anymore every single year. But a big priority for the program was to have a bye week on the way back here, following the games on the West Coast. So it's kind of interesting to hear him talk about that a little bit too.
So many topics. We could have probably talked with him for hours and hours. It's going to be so weird not seeing him around, but he's still very busy. There's still plenty of stuff going on the campus of Ohio State, including this weekend, the NCAA Men's Gymnastics Championships held over 2 days. Tonight is when Ohio State will be doing some qualifiers, I believe. I always love men's gymnastics, especially during the Olympics, because one, it's 6 apparatus compared to the 4, so it's just like a much longer competition, and for me it's always fascinating because there's a lot going on at the same time. Whitney, what do you think we should expect from this? I think we're going to be seeing a lot of future Olympians over the next couple of nights.
And that is what is so cool about this event, is because it's going to be different this year for the women. I'm not going to dive into, that's a deep dive I could do. But for the men, traditionally, college is kind of your setup for Olympic level. Whereas with the women, it's kind of after Olympics and you coast. For the men, that it's your setup. So a lot of the athletes that we're going to see here are going to be going to those Olympic trials, are going to be going to what we call USAs, or it's club nationals at the end of May. And so this is kind of like their next step. I mean, even some Buckeyes are going to be going to some of these big competitions. So that is what's so cool, is you get to not only watch this competition for a national title, you get to see kind of an appetizer, if you will, of some Olympic trial gymnasts. And I think that's on this stage where it's more fun, less pressure. That's really cool to me.
Joe, can you name all 6 apparatus?
Here's what I know about the apparatus. It's more than just staying on them.
He's right.
If you're going to win this thing, you have to be great when you're on top.
He's right, though. It is about more than staying on, because when you get to this point of the season, you should have your lineup set, and you should know that those guys are going to hit their routines. So what do we mean by it's more than the apparatus? It's making sure all of your angles are perfect. If you're supposed to be in a complete handstand, then it needs to be a handstand. If no pikes, no bent legs, those sorts of things. It's the amplitude on things. So on the high bar, when they let go of the bar and recatch, you want to see the gymnast very high above the bar and coming down while they're catching the bar, keeping their swing momentum going and not slowing down, or again, bent knees, those sorts of things. It's those little details, and that's what the gymnasts, as they prepare for trials, are trying to nail down as well. Those
are big tips to follow, especially for someone who isn't around gymnastics all the time. If you're not knowing what you're seeing, those are some really big tips, but I can do it. P-bars, high bar, floor, rings, vaults. I'm always missing one because I'm like, what did I just not mention?
It's close to vault.
Floor.
You did floor.
I did floor already. It's close to vault.
It looks like a vault.
Pommel horse.
Nailed it. The balance beam of men's gymnastics.
Got it.
It is.
One last topic before we go. Looking ahead to next week, we got this thing called the NFL Draft. I don't know if you've heard of it. Joe, actually, you're going to be there up in Detroit, and obviously kind of the lead headline when it comes to Ohio State, Marv, and where he's going to end up. And it's just been, I just started here, but, just following his story and what he's done and kind of going through the mindset. You can tell when in December when he had that press conference, he was still kind of thinking, like, do I want to stay or do I want to go pro? And it wasn't like cut and dry, like 100% like go to the NFL. Like there were reasons for him to stay. So thinking about that, and as the backdrop to this topic, what do you think about Marv and, kind of where he's at right now as he starts this new chapter in his career?
I think if you're an NFL team and you're looking at him, the way that December was a little bit of a struggle in terms of making the decision is a great sign, because the reason why it was tough for him is because there wasn't team success. He had a lot of success, but the team didn't reach its goals. So,
and you want that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for sure. So I just think it's so interesting that, most people consider him the number one prospect in the draft, yet he's not going to go number one because quarterbacks are a more valued position
in needs.
Receivers.
Yeah.
So, but, probably top 5 either way. So, I mean, it's going to be really cool, for him. I mean, as we know, whenever we go over there, right, for interviews, we always see him working and working and working. I mean, it's kind of cool to actually see that all play out, see all the extra that he puts into it. And, now he's going to play in the NFL just like his dad.
It's really cool. And I'm not going to lie. Whenever I see a mock draft, if he's not the first receiver, I just stop looking at the mock draft, because to me, I'm like, that's...
You've lost credibility.
You've lost credibility to me, because, I mean, one thing that I wish they would do is not make the NFL draft so far removed from the end of the season, because let's face it, like if there's football writers, you got to keep like things churning, you got to do stories. So I feel like sometimes things come out that it's like, I've just got to like throw out something today because I have to. And anyone that doesn't think, to me, genuinely that Marv is the number one receiver, you're overthinking it. I mean, he's just, every time we'd go there, he'd be on the jug machines. And I actually have a funny story I heard on the radio this week about the jug machine. So Julian Fleming, former Buckeye, now has gone to Penn State and has really kind of taken over a role in that room. I guess he was surprised because from what I understood in this story I overheard, that the Penn State doesn't use the jug machines. And he was just like,
what?
What? Now,
Weird.
Again, I am hearing this secondhand, but I just thought that was such a wild story. That's all we would see Marv doing this from the moment
by himself.
Practice
That's
ended,
what I heard,
by
right?
himself. From the moment practice ended until they were yelling at him, "Hey, Marv, it's your turn to come do interviews."
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite stories from Ryan Day, is that he would do this by himself to the point where the coaches were like, okay, you can't do this by yourself anymore. Like, let's not risk it. So just a great story. Obviously, I mean, I think most of our viewers know the story, but just learning the little details, that's what makes him so great. And we're really excited to see where he ends up. Yeah. All right. Well, that will do it for what really is always a busy weekend in sports. Just depends on the week you talk to us. That's Whitney Harding, Joe Nugent. I'm David DeGuzman. Have a great weekend.